Hello, everyone. It is Kenny here, Basketball Rewind. Real quick, let's go through it. We haven't quite gotten there yet, but we will be analyzing the full schedule at some point. But today, I am going to be looking through what has been released so far, and we're going to go step by step, brick by brick. Built this up myself. No, we're going to go through. We're going to go through what the NBA Communications has put out there so far, and we will go from there. This will be in no particular order. Actually, I am going to put it in a particular order so that it's just easier to kind of go. Because we're going to have some different streaming options that are going to actually be playing out here for public consumption. So opening night is going to be October the 21st. And we have a slate of games on the 21st of October. That is going to be the Rockets and OKC are going to have kind of a fun little, shindig going on where KD and Shea are going to be facing each other. We're going to have a classic with Golden State Warriors facing, the Lakers, Luka Lakers with LeBron Lakers, the double L Lakers. Hopefully they will not have an L in that one. So that's going to be a really exciting one. We will kind of stay tuned and lock in on those. As we kind of go through, we're going to look at some other options that are going to happen outside of those specific days. So let's go through it. On the next day after the 21st, on the Wednesday, we are obviously going to go over and actually care about the Eastern Conference for once. And that's where we're going to have the Cavs versus the Knicks. And then we're going to go back to the West and have Spurs. So that's their openings on ESPN. So these are the ESPN. It's not the full opening tip night, but these are the first. If you have ESPN baby, you lock in and you will see at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to usually give you Eastern Time times. So at 7 on Wednesday, October the 22nd, lock in Cavs versus the Knicks. You're also going to, after that game wraps up, and assuming that it doesn't go into overtime or anything past that, you're going to have the Spurs versus Cooper Flag and his Mavs, since Kyrie is not quite there, but you will probably see Anthony Davis. That will be a fun one. Of course, after that, and Dylan Harper will also be there. So that's the number 1 and 2 overall picks facing off early on in the season on ESPN, on that national televised broadcast. Of course, I'm not the biggest fan of ESPN, but a lot of people do love him, and they do have a lot of the big games usually. So yeah, we go on to Thursday, still in ESPN kind of mode right here. And of course, we're then going to have a very interesting matchup, which is OKC versus the Pacers. So right early on, after the OKC Thunder have had their warm-up kind of round against the Rockets, they go and face for the rematch. Of course, Kyrie is not going to be there more than likely, but the rematch of the finals. We then also have Denver with Jokic again and his remade team against Golden State Warriors with Steph. So yeah, stay tuned for those, of course. Now, more stuff is going to be kind of posted as we go on, but hey, we then zoom over on the first Peacock stream. So that's NBC, just so people, keep that locked in. Peacock is NBC's streaming service. Remember NBC, you have the bird with the feathers. That is the Peacock. So great. That's when we have the Cavs versus the Pistons, 7 p.m. on Monday, October 27th, right before Halloween night. It's going to be a fun one. Stay locked in for that. Of course, this is going to be a double header. You're going to have Denver versus Minnesota. That's going to be really fun seeing Ant-Man. Now, here's where things get as we zoom forward into the schedule, past October, and I will go through the Raptors' overall schedule and other teams' schedule, of course. We're going to lock in on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is always a fun day. It's the NBA's day, as they say. I know other teams other sports are trying to get in on the Christmas action, but we always know that there's always a Lakers game on Christmas Day, and there is this year too, except that it's not going to be James Harden on the other side, but it is going to be Kevin Durant with the Rockets facing off at 8 p.m. against the Lakers. These are all going to be on ABC, ESPN. So these are some of the most fun. I love when ABC is a part of the broadcast. Lots of fun. But yeah, you're going to have another Cavs versus Knicks. They saw each other on opening night, get their first crack at each other. But guess what? They are going to go and face each other again. We get some Eastern Conference love, just some. I wish that Orlando should be here, or Detroit should be here. There should be some sort of other Eastern Conference matchup, but that's okay. We have OKC versus the Spurs, so Wemby's going to get his shine. We're going to have Cooper Flag, with the Mavs. This is what happens when you're number 1 draft pick, right? Or number 2 draft pick, with Wemby, Harper, and Cooper Flag. It's going to be the Mavs, of course, versus the Golden State Warriors. Ant-Man is now going to be again on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day, I should say, facing off against Jokic. And that kind of rounds out the whole, the 5 games on Christmas that we will be watching for sure. Stay tuned, stay locked in on that now. Not gonna, as we get closer to the season, we'll talk about the in-season tournament. That was kind of tweeted out a long time ago, but there wasn't really much to talk about at the time. And I will talk about that with the overall schedule when it's out on Thursday. However, here's the thing. MLK Day. MLK Day is fun. And why do I care about MLK Day? Because Bucks and Atlanta are going to be facing off against each other. We're going to have the Celtics in whatever state they are in. It's going to be on January 19th for Canadians that aren't as up on MLK Day, which you should be up on it. These are also going to be streamed on NBC. So NBC got a great day, which is a big day in the NBA. So yeah, as we continue on, we're going to also have the Mavs versus the Knicks. And if I didn't say it already, OKC versus Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that kind of rounds it out. I'm just going to do a quick check. I do believe that rounds it out. So yeah, stay tuned, stay locked in, like, comment, and subscribe. And these are some of the fun games that are coming up as the schedule is slowly getting rolled out here. So yeah, take care and peace.